Recording now. All right. GarageBand time.
Okay. I'm ready.
After three. 1, 2, 3. What's up, ladies and
Ladies and
gentlemen?
gentlemen,
Welcome back to another episode of The Splash. I am your host, Spencer Galloway, followed up by my lovely, outstanding, handsome co-host, Ryan Galloway. Um, guys, this is an exciting day for Brooklyn Nets fans and James Harden fans alike. Brooklyn, I see you. I hear you. Today is your day. It has finally come. And I couldn't be more excited for you guys. As for the Houston Rockets, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel any. I mean, I do a little bit. The basketball fan in me says that it's not right what happened, but you guys have watched some great basketball, not just this past decade, but you guys, it's not like you guys have never won a title. I mean, come on. It's not like you guys are Cleveland or something. And not to mention Houston's just a cool place to be. But wow, what a day for basketball, for the NBA. It was huge. And I just can't wait to talk about it with my beloved star co-host.
can we can we talk about that just real quick? What what just happened?
What?
What did you just do?
What's wrong?
What
What
talk
you?
about stealing my thunder?
Oh, no.
I have very few things in this life, and the intro is one of them. And if I don't have the intro, then what do I have?
You have the
Awesome
outro, and
hair,
the outro is
a
so
great
good.
body,
The outro is so good.
good grades, I
Is that,
guess,
is that not good enough
fair.
for you? The outro is. I always throw it to you, and it's so good. I just want to do the. To be honest, I just want to do the intro one time, and it's kind of a good day for me.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
you know how
Okay.
important James Harden is to me. You know how important that is.
I know. I
It's a
know.
big
I
day.
understand. You
It's a
know
big.
what? If if it made you that happy, I'm really glad I can contribute to your good mood. Because you know what? At the end of the day, it's just an intro, and I'm sure Ernie, our editor, is gonna find a way to make your little intro sound really great. Because
Ernie.
he's good at that, I guess. Yeah.
So
I
is
mean,
Ernie.
he doesn't need to do much to my intro, but he can throw yours together pretty well, I
Well,
think.
because
So we'll see what happens.
because I gave you
But I'm happy for you, buddy.
because I gave everybody a good minute monologue. I'm gonna go and plug the turtle filter that is a little bit noisy. It's not very noisy. Take it away for just a sec.
Okay, well, you know what? I couldn't really hear what he was talking about, but that is correct. James Harden. It's not officially official, but it's pretty official. Will be a Brooklyn Net, and we're going to talk about it later in the show. But it was first of all one of the biggest trades in NBA history, and I think it was a really good trade, not only for the Nets because it puts them in win now. Well, they're already in win now, but it puts them in a winning situation, especially with Kyrie Irving. But the Rockets got exactly what they needed for the future, as well as Victor Oladipo, who Spencer isn't the highest on their current roster, but I think that's a very competitive roster in the West, and we'll see what happens. But more importantly, they have a treasure trove of picks for the future. And one might say that did Brooklyn not learn their lesson when they traded all their picks to Boston? Apparently not. It is different as you trade for one of the greatest scorers, not only in the league today, but in league history, versus two not washed up, but two past their prime superstars and
Washed
Jason
up.
Terry.
Before I go crazy on your Houston Rockets take, he told me not to call him, but I'm gonna call him. My dad had some great takes today, and he said he would like to be called on, but then he told me it may be past his bedtime. I have some takes. You have some takes. Let's see if the old man will come through.
Wow, and this is big for the
For
splash.
context, we were supposed to have a guest tonight, but he's unable to make it.
Wow,
So
I'm excited about this.
we're gonna see if this happens. Oh,
That's heartbreaking.
that's heartbreaking.
That upsets me.
What else is heartbreaking is if you're a Rockets fan, Your
I disagree
your
with you.
world
I
is bleak.
disagree with you.
Ryan is dead set
I
on
disagree with you.
calling this Rockets team a 5 seed. You know what else he called the 5 seed,
I
guys?
abridged it.
The Denver Nuggets last year. He called the Denver Nuggets a 5 seed. Were they a 5 seed, Ryan?
They were not a 5 seed.
And
But that doesn't mean that the Rockets can't be. But I will amend my statement. I will say I could easily see this Rockets team being a 7-6 seed.
but you think they're a playoff team?
I definitely believe that they can be. I know the West is crazy, and pretty much from 1 to 15, you have competitive teams. I think that the Rockets could easily be an 8-6 seed.
I'm gonna go through some cold hard facts with you about this Rockets team. And then feel free to stop me. Interject. I know you're passionate about this team for God knows what reason. It's not like you ever cared about any of these players before this year. Never. You
No,
never cared about
not at
any
all.
of them.
Not at all. Not at all. I did not.
So feel free to
Still don't.
interject, but I'm gonna go through my list.
Okay.
Starting at the top, John Wall. Always been kind of a toxic guy. I mean, so why does he get on his high horse all of a sudden this year and say that he and look, to be fair, he's been leading in the on the floor and in the press conferences. It's a nice change of scenery for him. But in Washington for like how many years? How long has he been in the league? 10, 11 years now? Like a long time.
Yeah, that
Not
sounds all right.
been that guy. We know that. We just know he has been that guy. We'll drop down one. DeMarcus Cousins. We know he's never been that guy. Sacramento, no.
No.
Every stop he's made since has been super meaningless and been more about the flagrant fouls, the ejections, and never about basketball. So I don't really think I care when DeMarcus says his feelings are hurt because James wants to be traded to a new team. 3, new acquisition. Oh, do you have something for DeMarcus?
Well, I was just going to say for those first two, people can change. Washington was a horrible situation for John Wall for a very long time, and I'm not doubting that he wasn't the best locker room guy. People can change, different environments, turning a new leaf. Change of scenery can be the best thing for a player, especially Washington D.C. People who live in Washington D.C. tend to hate themselves. Fair enough. DeMarcus Cousins, I agree with you
Is that
100%.
a shot at politicians?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% about DeMarcus Cousins and his past. They don't need him. There's not a lot of pressure on him in Houston right now. They don't need him to come in and be the all-star he used to be. They'd like it. It'd be great, but they don't need it.
Yeah, but they do
And then
need
you look
10
at
points, 10 rebounds. Can they get
exactly, and he's been pretty solid. I think I haven't really sat down to watch much, but from what I've seen, he's been pretty solid. A decent acquisition, playing some defense, getting some rebounds, and he's not going to be the player he used to be. But if they can get a fraction of that, then that's a victory. Especially when you're not seeing those off the court problems, you're not seeing those on the court problems either. Take for instance, Markieff Morris. Got into a little scrap with Markieff Morris.
Oh, don't
Stood
go
up,
there.
not a scrap. He
know
stood
I'm
up for his
gosh.
teammate. DeMarcus Cousins stood up for his teammate against Markieff Morris. Nothing egregious, nothing to get him thrown out of the game. Just a little body check, and then Markieff comes up, fake tough guy trying to get up in his face, and then Boogie laughs, says he's not worth it, and walks off. That was really mature. That shows a lot. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's their collective hating James Harden, but it is bringing this team together, and it's beautiful.
Well, if that's
Nothing
their
brings people together
motivation,
like hatred.
if that's their motivation,
I'm okay with that. That's how this works. We hate each other.
If their motivation,
I hate you.
Motivation,
I hate you.
Also, just want to go back to when you did body shake.
Yeah.
You did this number twice. That was good. I have a picture of you in your underwear.
No.
That's a good callback to that. I need to.
Well, hey, you know what? Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Is that appropriate for the splash page? You were underage.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I was underage in that, so that's no. I don't consent.
Okay, fair enough. We almost went on a Marcus or a Morris Brothers tangent like I did earlier today.
Careful.
He sucks. Well, they both suck.
They're bad.
They're the
I don't know
fakest tough guys ever.
With the Celtics, I don't know how we were tricked into thinking that Fostar was.
You
were really high on Fostar at one point. You liked Marcus Morris.
You have to understand that 4 years prior, we had dealt with guys who just the thing with Marcus for that stretch was he did make some shots. And in years prior, we didn't have guys who could make any shots. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what a wonderful world. Now we have players who are actually good. Um, and I think being around Marcus Smart, who's an actual tough guy, maybe disguised the Morris brother being a tough
Yeah.
guy. It turns out he's not tough. He's just a little bitch. So,
Ooh, the
and so
splash
is his
goes
brother.
PG-13.
So is his brother, Markeith. So anyway,
Yeah.
not to give them any more shine. We went through John Wall. We went through DeMarcus Cousins. Newly acquired Karis LeVert turned into Victor Oladipo will not finish the season with the Rockets. Why? Victor Oladipo is an expiring contract who will definitely not resign with Houston. So Houston looks to continue to. They've already gotten this onslaught of picks and pick swaps and players. They're going to continue to look to flip, 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 as a Michael Pendergraft would flip, flip, flip.
Mm.
What will they flip
Well, I
for?
guess you have to say, you have to make the decision. You have to either say, okay, we're you know what, we're gonna try to be competitive this year. This team, as it stands right now, has a shot at being competitive in the lower echelon of the West. Okay, we can do that. They love them or hate them. That team, as it's constructed right now, can win some games. Or they're gonna blow it up, which arguably they should do. See what they can get for Oladipo. Probably not see what they can get for Wall, because Wall is probably long term. Christian Wood is obviously long term. I guess they could maybe unload Boogie to a contender, but he wanted to play with John Wall, and they have him playing for nothing. So I guess their only option is to trade Victor Oladipo, PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon,
So if they
which
trick
they could
people,
get some picks.
Victor Oladipo is actually good. He's probably not as good as some people think he might be, um, but he's actually good and can really help a team as a third, fourth guy. You know, making a deep playoff push. So that's a legit asset to flip. But if the Rockets can trick people into thinking that John Wall is actually good for long enough, and some team is a
Mm.
sucker enough to trade for him, well, that would be a huge win. I think the Rockets should definitely just keep it in full tank mode because for the next 10 years, they've got picks, 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 picks. So may as well just get started right now. And
Yeah.
by 2 years from now, you could have a really good young team.
Mhm. Yeah, they got the picks they needed. They did that excellently. My only thing is, I don't know if Tillman Fertitta wants to see a rebuild. I don't think that his pride will let him do that.
The thing is, if you were Tillman Fertitta and you really wanted to sell this team, which would be the quickest turnaround of all time, Um, but this dude, I feel like, is all in on a sell because I think he bought this team. He bought it by himself, which is kind of rare now. Usually people go in, I mean, NBA teams are expensive. You usually go in with an ownership group. I don't think he knows anything about basketball. His businesses, because of the coronavirus pandemic, have taken quite a big hit because he's the owner of like Landry's Seafood and the Golden Nugget casinos, restaurants. I don't know if you know this, they're not open. So he's not the guy's stupid rich, but I think he's kind of in sell mode. He never really committed. It
Mhm.
was always kind of clear he was going to flip this team, which sucks because he bought it from maybe one of the best owners ever. And if it wasn't for old age, he'd probably still be owning the team. But alas, that's part of why I give Harden some pretty nice slack on being the way he was. I mean, ownership is not what it used to be. Daryl Morey's gone. Your coach is gone. Anybody he went into it with is no longer there. He wrote it out for 8 years. Nobody else did. Nobody saw it to the end. So I cut him some slack. But we'll get more into the Harden stuff later. Just going for Houston. I mean, we're at the point now where it's tank. It's tank time. It's tank time. Everybody has their day for the tank, unless you're the Spurs and you refuse to. But
For
everybody
worse. For
everybody has their
worse.
day. And I don't think the Spurs are a team that needs to tank, just keeping it in Texas, but they should probably play their young guys and maybe
Yeah,
trade
maybe.
Maybe trade
Maybe play your young
LaMarcus.
guys. Maybe
Maybe.
trade.
I
Maybe
don't.
trade your aging people that you could get assets for.
Maybe.
Maybe a request that your 80-year-old head coach who's going to be there for another year and not develop any players while he's there goes ahead and retires and stops stunting your team's growth. But I could talk about
Maybe.
that all day. We don't have to.
Facts.
PJ Tucker. PJ think they're looking to unload PJ Tucker.
Oh,
They could actually probably get some value for PJ.
I
Seems
think
like Boston could
I
really
think
use
I
it.
know where he could go. I think
I would love to see him in
I
Boston.
think he's got Celtic written all over him, and it would be the classic Celtics move because guess what? He's a 6'9", six. He's
Yeah.
not even no. He's like 6'7" power forward. He's the big man who's not big, and it's such a classic Celtics move. It's just get the big guy who's actually not that tall at all.
But he's
Um,
actually great. So I don't have an
but
issue
he's a
with it.
great player and he can space the floor. So yeah, it's not a move I would hate. Um, so that's it for Houston. I think Houston's kind of Houston, the team that trades a superstar never actually gets talked about even as much as we just did. So props to us for kind of giving them a little bit of love.
That's what
But
we do.
it's kind of because we know we're never going to talk about them we're not going to talk about them for a long time. So unless if this team is competitive like you think they could be, all right, okay. But I think they're a lottery team. So we'll see. As for are the Cavs worth talking about? Who the Cavs ended up with
Jared
Levert.
Allen.
No, Jared
They
Allen.
got Jared Allen. Pacers got Levert.
So the Pacers are interesting.
That's it.
I mean, they basically Levert and Oladipo. I don't think are that far apart, honestly. I
Uh,
think
Oladipo plays defense. That's the only difference.
yeah, better defender. Thing is, Oladipo was super disgruntled in Indiana, and so
Yeah.
that's why that happened. Um, and so I guess he thinks he's like a max contract guy, but he's not.
He's not
Maybe
max. He's gonna get a good payday, but
he'll get a good payday, rightfully so. But I don't know. It feels
he's
like Indiana. If he just kind of put his pride aside, I feel like Indiana is actually a good place to be.
it's like he's an
But
86 overall in 2K, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's a great
yeah,
player, but
that's it.
he's a B plus guy.
B plus guy, third or fourth option.
Yes, third.
Eh, on a title team, fourth.
That's gonna be a good title team.
Well, unless the first two options are like LeBron AD type, but you know, I mean, look at the Warriors. I mean, Clay was the third option. He's a hell of a lot better than Victor Oladipo.
That's yeah.
Shout out to Clay Thompson. We still miss you.
Enough.
Still miss you, buddy. So your thoughts on the East now? Celtics fan. I'm a Celtics fan. You're a Celtics fan.
So, as to not be, I have to be the voice of reason because I know what you're gonna say. We've talked about this at great length. I see. Well, the Nets are obviously the favorite now, just on paper. I don't know how that's going to play out with Kyrie Irving being Kyrie Irving. The depth leaves a lot to be desired. The defense is almost non-existent, and their center is DeAndre Jordan, and he's the only big man on the roster as it stands at the time of recording, which is cause for concern. But I genuinely think that KD, James Harden, I mean, that's enough to get you top 3 in the East, especially. So I'm gonna have them at number 1. I think the Bucks or the Celtics are number 2 and 3 in either order, and then Philly is a distant 4, and then Miami's at 5, which is all that matters. But I think the Celtics as a full team are very, very competitive. Jason Tatum having an MVP caliber season, Jaylen Brown having an MVP caliber season. Honestly, Kemba Walker hasn't even played. Bench depth is Celtics are I'm trying to say Celtics are one trade away from being able to make the finals, and I genuinely believe that. But it has to be a good trade or an acquisition, just in any kind. Need some scoring off the bench.
Who does that look like?
Well, I mean, if Isaiah Thomas is healthy, go get Isaiah Thomas. It's perfect.
Don't make me get the jersey. Don't make me do it.
I genuinely don't know what the free agent pool looks like right now, but I genuinely I think that a scoring guard, a scoring wing. Don't really need any centers because you got a pretty strong front court with Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice. I mean, they're undersized, but they're great, and it's working.
That's very true. As just a basketball fan, I'm super excited to watch the Nets. It's going to be super offensive, like savvy. Steve Nash, one of the best point guards of all time, leading them offensively. You have Kyrie, best finisher, best ball handler of all time, I would say. Kevin Durant and James Harden, probably two of the best 5 scorers ever. Just insane. I think between those two, they've won basically every scoring title of the past decade. Outside of maybe a couple of years. It's going to be really fun to watch. The biggest asterisk of all time right now is Kyrie Irving. The sage burning, media calling out, strange guy, disappears from the roster, weirdo, Kyrie Irving, who we have firsthand knowledge of how painful it is to be a fan when he is the best player on the team. At least now, it's very clear how this goes. It's KD and Harden, 1A, 1B, like you said earlier. And then Kyrie is very clearly the third guy there. But Kyrie's the same guy who thinks he's better than LeBron James. How is that going to actually play out? Is it a media meltdown? Is it behind the scenes? Do they kind of, they're all friends. Do they kind of figure it out? They just kind of work it out? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm excited to see how it goes. As part of me, so as a Celtics fan, I don't want it to work out. I'm excited to see Kyrie implode. I'm excited to see him make the Nets implode and the Celtics walk to the finals because no one besides the Nets, I don't see anyone standing in their way. Honestly, they've handled the Bucks this year, but I digress. But part of me as a basketball fan wants to see Kyrie get it together and see the three of them actually genuinely give it a go. If it works, we're going to watch some phenomenal basketball. If it doesn't work, then people like me will be right in saying 3 ball dominant players. I don't know about that one.
So we have a buddy in our fantasy basketball chat who was quick to say this may be the best team ever assembled. And that was very clearly not true because we haven't seen them play a game together. What can be said, a variation of that is true, is, well, let me just go at it lightly. There are in history, where is there another trio of players that are as offensively talented as these three? And I don't think it exists.
Currently?
All time, individually, so the KD, Steph, Clay thing, right? Together, they worked so beautifully. But Clay is not as good as Kyrie as a third option. Steph is not as good. Well, Steph and Harden are probably about the same. And then KD and KD. But individual talents, 3 of them on the same roster. I don't think we've ever seen 3 offensively gifted guys like this.
So to speak to that, I don't know if that's fair to say about the Warriors because we've never seen Clay be the number 1 option. And I think that he could do it.
Right, but Clay's not better than Kyrie.
We don't know that. But
he might be.
Better shooter, better defender. I mean,
better defender.
I don't know. But regardless, I think that's
it is close.
It's fair. If they had reached their full potential, OKC Big 3, which is 2 of the same guys.
Yeah. In like 2017, if all those 3 guys are together, that would be it. But because it was 2011, it doesn't really count.
The closest thing I can think of besides the Warriors would be D Wade and LeBron, but Bosh was a big man, so that's different.
Yeah, but
I mean, Bosh was still good on offense, but
if it was like 3 years sooner, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I mean, D Wade was still an all-star, but yeah, no, I think you're right.
Bosh had to take a step back.
Each player individually is at the top of their game, so we'll see what happens.
That's the thing.
So
the potential is astronomical, but they are all 3 a little bit. They're probably the three of the most interesting personalities in basketball, right? I mean, really, James Harden isn't, because for the most part of his career, he's been extremely quiet and not really a big thing to talk about. It's really not until this year that he became this media spectacle.
Mhm.
AD, ever since he left for the Warriors, has kind of been like that, and Kyrie has always been like that. Um, so be interesting. Um, do you think? I mean, you think they're the favorites in the East? Do they stand a chance against LA?
I would love to see that series, but I think the Lakers take that in 6.
I think the Lakers are so far and ahead of the best team. I
They're
mean,
so good.
LeBron might get 6. And is there an argument after that?
Of course there is, because people are dumb, but there shouldn't be.
The thing is that's the thing. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it kind of just, the thing is, if you haven't changed your mind yet, you probably never will, because this guy goes, well, if LeBron does end up getting 6, it still doesn't change anything, because to me, Michael's the best. And yeah, nonsense. A little bit off topic, but LeBron this year is probably good chance he gets 5. And
Yeah, that's fair.
now he's at Kobe level. Now he's at Tim Duncan level. And
Yeah,
if he looks this good this year, it's not impossible to say that he gets it next year. Three-peat, an
yeah.
LA three-peat for 6.
He's
Best
at the
player ever.
he's at the top of his game right now, which is incredible at his age. But my issue with the whole, people knock on LeBron for his finals record, right? That's the only thing they knock on for his finals record. But the thing is, it's kind of like how people talk about how horrible Notre Dame is because they get blown out in
Oh,
the
they are
playoff.
horrible.
Well,
But they
the
got
thing is
there.
though, they get there. They
They
go
got there.
undefeated. They win the games they're supposed to win. And if you get there, you're still one of the top 4, at least top 6 teams in
They're
the
still
league.
better than anybody who didn't get in, is the thing.
Exactly. So it's a stupid argument.
Not making the finals should not be rewarded.
And outside of the Mavericks, all of his finals losses are pretty respectable to really good teams. I mean, the
Extremely
Mavericks team
respectable.
were very good, but he played like garbage in that
Yeah, it was
series.
just a bad series. But the Spurs,
You can never be mad about losing to the Spurs, especially that
every
Spurs.
time he played the Spurs, yeah, I mean, come on. And then
And he beat the Spurs
the Warriors
once.
are the best team of all time.
Exactly. It's kind of like the Harden doesn't have a ring yet, but he would have gotten it with Chris Paul, or he probably would have gotten it if he didn't have to play the best
The
team of all
fact
time.
they if the fact they came that close with an injured Chris Paul against the best team ever, James Harden should have, in any other decade, again, well, not any other decade. James Harden's winning probably 5 rings in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have to play against the Warriors, or if his peak, even if his peak was, if he came in the league sooner and his peak ran from like 2010 to 2015, and he never has to see this Warriors team. This Warriors team broke a lot of hearts, just like Michael did in the 90s, and just like Larry did to a lesser extent in the 80s, and just like the Celtics did from like 1940 on. I wish my team would win a title on the.
It's going to happen in the 2020s. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah, it will. It's panic. We just looked at each other with right? It does, right?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. It's going to, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, he's 6'10". It's fine.
He's 19.
Yeah, he's Jaylen Brown is
Jaylen Brown is good. Jaylen Brown.
I saw that I saw Gene posted on Instagram today, and he said that but he's not a James Harden supporter anymore. He's very upset. He's been ranting about it all day, and he goes, "I cannot believe I ever stood up for that obese Corey Joseph."
Is that more disrespectful to Corey Joseph or James Harden?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's close.
Hey, you want me to pick you up a a Harden jersey next week at like in the mall. They're marked down.
Yeah.
Dude, I might go tomorrow because honestly, champs will have that jersey or lids. Let's go to the mall tomorrow. Let's get Harden jerseys.
You want to?
Yeah,
Okay.
I need that.
You need that. You need some.
All my Harden jerseys, the old Adidas ones, and they're like screen printed and they're gross.
Let's go to the mall. You can look at those. I can look at shoes or some fun pants.
You don't need more shoes.
I could use some pants.
You don't need pants.
Shirts.
Maybe a hat.
Maybe a hat. You know what? I'm gonna start adding to my collection now because the wool cap is my thing now, and I love it. And I don't care what people think. Anyone who I went to high school with can suck it.
Hey, that's the thumbnail. Let's go.
Oh God.
That's the thumbnail. Actually, it can be the thumbnail, but I gotta like censor the birds.
Put like
I could put like James Harden's face over it, and then
when I do this, put Jude's face, and then Kyrie Irving's face, or Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Better yet.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a good thumbnail. That's good. I'm gonna use that.
Right, I got you.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're figuring it out.
Yeah, figuring it out.
It'll get clicks.
It'll get something.
It'll get us demonetized.
Yeah, well.
Well, you have to be monetized in order to get demonetized. Because
that's the thing. It's like as soon as we get to get monetized, we're gonna get quickly demonetized.
Well, yeah. So our listenership per week is like 500 or 600, but it's not translated over to YouTube yet, which is fine. But go follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube.
People who listen on like Spotify and Apple. I mean, I get there's a reason why. Look, to be very honest, I don't watch any podcasts except the occasional like Joe Rogan, like superstar episode.
But just give us a subscribe.
Just give us a subscribe. Yeah, just do that. Instead of having to recultivate a new audience on the internet.
And then I wish our social media guys would do their job.
Yeah, okay, guys. So forewarning, you always should take anything you see on our social media with a grain of salt. But now especially, we just kind of commissioned out. We're kind of just giving out the password to people. So if you want the password, if you want the password, just send us a DM. And this is for the Strive Network or the Splash Pod, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I don't care. I don't even know what we're on. But if you want the password so you can post, go crazy.
I'm going to send them a little Monday motivation. There we go.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday motivation. Check it, though. I think it's good.
We really did lease out the account to a couple new people.
No, we expanded.
Do your job. Yeah, we gave them the password like 2 days ago. They've done one. They've done between two of them. They've done one post, and you had to send one of them the picture.
Yeah, it's like, okay. I have faith. I
think they're just nervous. Like we're gonna like disapprove. Okay. Like really, I don't care what. I'm serious. If you want the password to the Instagram, come get it.
Stop.
I'm giving it away, dude. I don't have time to manage a social media account. Come on. I already have to manage my own. You know how many DMs I have to respond to in a day?
None.
They're all yours. They're all your DMs. All right. We're gonna.
What are we doing?
Talking to Evan. All right, Ryan, stop bullying our social media guys. 33 minutes and we've done the Rockets, we've done the Nets, we've done a little bit of Celtics, of course. Let's show Gordon Hayward some love for being so damn good. Show him some love.
Good job, man.
Good job, Gordon Hayward.
He is a great first option on a small market team.
And that's all he needs.
That's great.
And he and LaMelo Ball are gonna be fun. And they're gonna make the playoffs. So that's good. Drew keeps evading this podcast. We should have done an episode last week. It didn't happen. But he did bring something to my mind. I'm gonna say a phrase and you're gonna I'm gonna see how you react. Drew said when he does come on the show, what we need to do is we need to bring back the clown of the week. Do you remember the clown of the week?
I forgot clown of the week. The clown of this. I have a clown of the week for this week.
Clown of the week was such a strong thing, and I don't know anybody else who does it.
Mm-mm.
And it's always a clip.
Yeah.
If we do nothing else, we guarantee ourselves a clip for each
Yeah.
podcast with clown of the week. But I'd like to close with the clown of the week. We need to bring it back though. It's too easy to make.
Do you have one in mind?
I could make one up, but if you got one,
Well, I'm thinking we could either. Do,
there's
do, do you want it to be like a pro athlete, or do you want it to be someone's take?
oh, it can be anybody. It can be a take. It can be it can be anybody, politics, celebrity, which sucks because I've had some clowns that we should have done. But I think there's a couple clowns that yeah. Also, I'm not on Twitter that much anymore, and that's usually where we found our clowns. But
Yeah.
the really bad takes always find their way somehow. Well, is there anything else we need to touch up on before we go into some clowning?
I don't think so. I think
I don't think so
it's a
either.
really strong first half hour.
I just watched a full Knicks game. It was actually not bad. I mean, it is really just to watch KD, which is so fun. KD is so good. The Knicks kind of scared everybody for a little bit. Thought they would be good. They're not. Just doing my laundry list. I think that's it, though. I think that's it. I think it was a good show. We got some stuff. It'll go on YouTube tomorrow. I'm tired.
Spotify tonight.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Clown of the week. Let's go. But we're gonna spice that. The clip is gonna start right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the clown of the week. I know it's been a long time since we've done it. I think since probably well in the last year, 2021, we're starting off right with the clown of the week. Ryan, do you have a clown?
I do have a clown. He is not well known. I do not know him personally. I know him through a group chat. But my clown of the week is Senate Schultz for being very high on the Brooklyn Nets and going so far as to say he doesn't know which one is best out of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden.
He was saying that Kyrie has a chance to be the best of those three.
Clown.
Insane. Kyrie's so easily the third guy out of those three.
Kyrie could so easily be the clown of the week as well. Just any week.
Kyrie's the clown of the week. He's missed 4 games and now he can't come back because he went to go party. Kyrie, you are a clown, and you're the clown of the week. Clown of the week, Kyrie Irving and Senate Schultz. For context, Senate is a guy we do a fantasy basketball league with, and I don't even know if didn't he trade for James Harden today when his stock couldn't be lower?
Yeah, he did.
That's terrible. That's awful. This guy, I love him though.
Good guy.
Stroke for Senate. Strokes for Senate.
But yeah, no, it's all love. We love him to death. He brings a lot of entertainment to our lives.
He's all right. Let's see. Here's we never get political on here, but I just want to point out for our international listeners, our president got impeached for the second time today, and it's not even news. It's not even news.
It's a record.
It's not even a big deal. What a day.
That's
so
as far
crazy.
as I want to go into politics.
That's not even the biggest news of the day. The biggest news is that James Harden was traded to the Nets.
That's where we're at as a country.
That's so awesome.
It would have been bigger news if he wasn't 6 days away from leaving office.
But yeah, that's true. It's a weird time. But as you said, that's as far as we'll go on that. If you don't have anything else, I'm pretty spent. It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm ready to call it.
All right. Take us away.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into this week's episode of The Splash. If you made it this far, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Really helps out and appreciates it. Even if you didn't enjoy it, just be nice to us. Please send us presents. I will give you Spencer's address.
Hey, don't do that.
We okay, just kidding. We'll do that. We are on YouTube. Be sure to find us, subscribe to us, like all of our videos, comment on all of our videos at the Strive Network. Be sure to follow us all on social media, Instagram, Twitter. I don't think we're on Facebook, but maybe coming soon. Maybe you could run the Facebook account. Not you, Spencer, but whoever's listening right now, dear listener.
Yeah.
That's it. Be sure to look out for new posts on Instagram.
Be sure
We got 2
to
new guys
do
running it. It's great.
reviews and likes and comments and
Yeah, all that good stuff. Just
subscribe on the YouTube for crying out loud. I know you gotta see Jude, but just subscribe for us.
I'm gonna get a PO box, and you're gonna send me presents, and it'll be great, and we'll have a great relationship.
I'm gonna send
Because
you
I give you
presents?
this, and you give me no. Talking to the listener, because we're in the listener.
sorry.
So I was like, yeah. Now it's like, yeah. So
Got it.
Anyway, that's my spiel. That's been Spencer. I've been Ryan. You've all been wonderful. This has been The Splash. Thank you very much, and we will see you very soon.